you're a working journalist, posted Malacanang. Kailan ito?
I covered Malacanang since Cory pa eh. But I covered the entire 6 years of
Of
FBR.
FBR. Okay. Indeed. Well, you still remember the first time you covered him?
Yeah, we were
Question ba?
scared of
Iba?
him.
Oh, bakit?
That was the initial reaction because he was a military man. So, coming from PCCA,
Oo.
President Corazon Cojuangco Aquino, our coverage then was very well. We were actually the gazebo gang. We were waiting the whole day for news. So when he came in as president, so we were like, oh my God, here's a military man taking over. So our notion then was he would be very strict. He would be very, we would be like soldiers following the orders. Parang ganun yung
So may
namin,
apprehension.
fear. No, parang sabi namin, oh my God, a military man getting into the palace, parang ganyan. So the initial reaction was actually parang, oh my God, parang nakakatakot, parang ganyan. But then, it turned out that he was the most amiable.
Talaga?
Kasi I covered how many? 4 presidents. So he was, for me, he was the most charming, the
Talaga?
most amiable. And despite him being a military man, he turned out to be, for me, the best president that I covered.
Talaga. So, nung una, may konting fear kamo sa mga
Meron lang gano'n na parang, oh my God, military man.
Stricto
Siyempre,
ba?
diba, gano'n?
Stricto ba nung umpisa?
Kasi, martial law, ko eh. Alam mo yun na I grew up in a, well, naranasan ko yung martial law. So, medyo ang tingin ko sa mga military, medyo nakakatakot, ganyan. So, ito siya, I believe he was the first military, top military official na naging presidente. So, yun yung unang pumasok sa isip namin na na gano'n na kasi iba kasi nung time ni PCCA. As in parang iba. Tapos biglang may papasok na parang coming from the military. So, we were kind of expecting na baka medyo mahigpit.
Stricto.
Stricto. But then, that was just to draw the difference between my coverage of PCCA and my coverage of PFBR. So when we were interviewing, during the rare times that we would be able to interview PCCA, si PCCA nasa gitna. Tapos puro sundalo or security niya nandun sa circle na nakalibot sa kanya. Tsaka nandito kami na media. Pagdating kay PFVR na coverage, eto siya sa gitna. Eto kami na media nakapaligid sa kanya. Tsaka lang nakapaligid sa labas namin yung military. Or whoever yung PSG niya during that time.
So
that defined, how different it was. So talagang hindi niya kami, nasa circle niya kami. Nandun kami sa loob ng circle niya. Tapos yung protection, if the people who were protecting him were also protecting us. Kasi parang yun yung utos niya. Huwag kayo yung iikot sa akin. Dapat kasama yung media na poprotektahan ninyo. So that was a very defining moment in my coverage.
What did that tell you of him and how he viewed his relationship with media?
We had a very good relationship. I think the respect that he had for the members of the media was so strong. Kasi ganun din yung tingin namin sa kanya. Ang tingin ko sa kanya noon, parang he was not just the father of the nation. For me, he was my own father also. So yung ganung pag-aalaga niya sa amin, he even assigned then Deputy PSG Commander June Esperon na turuan mo yung mga yan na mag-golf, mag-ganyan, lahat. Alagang-alaga kami para kaming mga anak. So, I would say na he looks at the media as his own family, as very important partners dun sa pag-build din ng country natin during his term.
But let me just go back a few years. Well, siya yung inendorso ni Cory eh.
Yeah.
Why Why the apprehension?
Military nga eh. Kasi nanggaling nga ako sa, nakita ko yung martial law, napanood ko sa TV nung sinasaksak si Imelda, you know. Pag dumadaan kami ng Camp Crame, parang kulang na lang, hindi kami hihinga dahil parang, alam mo yun.
Yeah.
Dati kasi iba talaga yung fear ng military authorities, yung PCINP during that time, it was called, si FBR din ang ano man tawag nila noon dati?
Philippine Constabulary.
Oh, yun. Exactly. PC, Philippine Constabulary. Iba eh, pagdating sa police, medyo merong, merong iwas ka dahil authority eh, parang ganon.
You remember yung infighting? Ang daming gustong makakuha nung basbas ni Cory, ha?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me your inside story. Paano mo nalaman o paano nakuha ni FBR yung endorsement ni Tita Cory?
Actually, hindi ko na all I know is he was the farthest to be endorsed. Parang from among those who were vying for the presidency, parang si FVR yung parang the least likely to get PCCA's endorsement. Pero he charmed, parang dahil nga because of his, yung track record niya to begin with, and how sincerely he wants to serve the people. I think he was able to warm, pardon me for the word, but yun yung unang naisip ko na word, to warm his way into Cory's heart and focus. So that's why he eventually got the nod or the endorsement of Cory. I think also PCCA also had in mind that time that the Philippines would be in better hands if he turned over the presidency to Fidel V. Ramos.
Like
kasi iba ang discipline ng military eh. I mean, kung ako man siguro yung nasa lugar ni Cory, if I would turn over the government to somebody na I believe will be capable or will be able to do an even better job than I did, then I would turn it over to him. Talagang gladly, with all my heart, with all my trust. Ganun siguro. Okay. Feeling ko lang kasi babae ako, so ang feeling ko na gusto ko rin lang naman ayusin yung bansa ko, di pipiliin ko na yung palagay ko, magagawa yung dapat gawin para sa ating bansa. And she was proven right. Because the Philippines was a tiger economy during PFVR's time. Talagang, wow. Ang tingin sa Pilipinas that time was parang Asian superpower. Parang ganyan. So, we bask and we enjoyed that prestige from among Asian countries. So, very proud moment for the Philippines na ito yung presidente mo, naging tiger economy yung Pilipinas dahil sa kanya.
First few weeks, first month of covering FDR as president, did you have any inkling what that presidency would be like?
Oh, definitely. Yung pagiging workaholic was immediately seen by all of us. Okay. Kasi day one pa lang, he rolled up his sleeves, literally, and started to work. So, dun nakita yung pacing dun ko namin nakita yung pacing, no? So, we had to learn to start working early kasi he wakes up early, starts going to the provinces at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and then you return to Manila late evening, and then the following day, you have to wake up at 3 a.m. again because you have to catch the F-27 or F-28 na Air Force na mga carriers para madala kayo sa kung saan probinsya. I guess, na-define yung my years covering not just FVR, but the other presidents, defined my career as a journalist. And especially so with PFVR. Kasi nung time niya talaga, ito yung talagang parang hindi ko na nakikita ko na lang yung bahay ko, matutulog na lang ako dahil sa pagod. Pero we didn't mind waking up early in the morning, riding all those mga military aircrafts na alam mo na parang ang tawag nga nila ay flying coffins, di ba? Pero walang takot na sumakay tayo doon, di ba? Na eto na huminto yung propeller nung isa, ito yung nag-nosedive yung C-130 sa kung saang probinsya yun. Ito yung ang daming near-death experience na...
Meron ka rin mga ganun.
Oh yeah, dinaanan. I think every member of the press corps during that time, maraming memories ng mga near-death na experiences na ganyan. Kasi nga, that time, magsisimula pala yung program ng AFP modernization ni FDR. So, ang mga military hardware natin, puro talaga, mga luma na talaga. So, ayan na yung sumasakay ka ng Huey, sakay ka ng C-130, sakay ka ng F-27, F-28, yan yung biglang lalabas yung piloto from the cockpit, yung co-pilot siguro yun, sasabihin na, ma'am, pwede hong lumipat kayo sa kabilang side ng eroplano. Sabi namin, bakit kami lilipat sa kabilang side ng eroplano? Huminto po kasi yung propeller dito sa kanan para lang po mabalanse, so medyo lilipat na ganun. So, ikaw naman, gingerly, medyo lipat ka ng ganyan, pero tuloy pa rin ng trabaho, tuloy pa rin ng Meron yan yung C-130, biglang nag-nosedive sa Awang yata yun, if I remember it right. So, yung ganyan, meron yung umusok yung propeller, yung ganyan. Parang ang feeling namin mga pusa kami nung time na yun. Kasi parang ang dami naming buhay. Parang cover ka, pero wala kaming iniisip na, mamamatay na kami. Wala kaming fear. For some reason, I can't even explain up to this day why we were never afraid. Because we were happy doing our jobs. And with this kind of president na nakikita mo na nagtatrabaho, nakikita mo ang sipag-sipag, talagang Diyos ko, talagang kung pwede lang suyurin ng Pilipinas ng isang araw, gagawin niya para makita lang kung ano yung what's happening on the ground, what can be done, what needs to be done, etc. So, yung members ng Malacanang Press Corps during that time, talagang ang buhay natin, umikot sa pagtutok sa kanya. So, wherever he went, we would be there. So, sumakay kami sa halos magka-crash na aeroplano or whatever. Basta makarating kami, makover namin siya, and bring home the story. That was our focus during that time.
It was a very punishing schedule.
It was.
I mean, for members of media who were half his age.
Yeah.
Diba?
Yeah. Noong una nga, sabi namin, kakayanin ba natin to? Pero kinaya naman namin. Kasi mahihiya naman kami na nakikita mo yung presidente mo, trabaho ng trabaho, tapos ikaw, aangal ka na, nakakapagod na, punishing na, ano ba yan, hindi na ako wala nang, iba, sabi, wala na akong social life, wala na akong love life, ganyan yung mga ano nila. Pero, at the end of the day, the satisfaction came when you know that you did a good job and you were there and you were part of history because you were witnessing it with your own eyes and you're seeing this president doing his best for the country and you feel so much pride because you're part of it. And he always makes you feel that you are part of it. Hindi kayong, nagko-cover yan, medya, walang ganun sa kanya. Ang feeling ko nga, lahat ng tingin niya talaga, pamilya, anak, ganyan, lahat. The way he takes good care of his staff, of his soldiers, of everybody else. Ganun din yung treatment niya sa media. Hindi malayong pamilya. Up to today, actually, kapag nagkikita kami ni Sir, madalas nagpupunta siya ng anniversary ng bulletin. That's an annual thing. Lately na lang hindi siya nakakapunta dahil for some reason. Pero mga 1 year pa lang siya nagsiskip. Pero since he stepped down from his post in 1998, he's been religiously going to the anniversary of bulletin. And every time he would, arrive, I would be there waiting for him. Kasi nga ang feeling ko, tatay ko to. So pag nakikita niya ako, hindi niya nakakalimutan na, Isabel, ano? Sasabihin niya, ang taba mo. Ang bayat mo, lahat, pupunahin niya sa'yo. Pero alam mo yung puna na he cares about you. So, laging yan, diba, kada anniversary ng Manila Bulletin, laging hinihintay namin yung pagdating niya. Yan.
Tell me the amount of material and content that was generated. I mean, di ba, tulad nun, yung out-of-town na cabinet meeting, tapos may multi-sectoral assembly, tapos maya-maya may bibisita sa kampo, maya-maya.
So, you know, the amount of articles or stories that I was able to come up with covering him in 6 years, siguro sa sobrang dalas na kami yung headline or front page stories. Dumating na yun ako sa point ng buhay ko na pag sinabing, ano, bibigyan ba kita ng byline? Kahit wag na. Parang araw-araw na lang nakikita ko yung byline ko. Parang okay na. Parang ganyan. Kasi, yun nga yung, alam mo yun, sa dami ng isinulat mo tungkol sa lahat ng ginawa niya. Katunayan, ang hindi ko makalimutan, there was a time na parang nahulog yung, tooth niya. And we went to a toothpaste plant or factory. So I enjoyed writing my story. Naggawa ako ng sidebar or the other side of the story. Kasi the story there was the inauguration of this toothpaste plant. No? But then I came up with a sidebar or light story and my title was Toothless Eddie Goes to parang toothpaste, toothpaste factory inauguration. Parang gano'n na. I played around with the words and came up with a very light story on what happened. Yung pala, parang nagpunta siya sa dentist niya, pero hindi ka na-fix kagad. So, we were watching him deliver his speech and sabi namin, parang merong mali. Sabi namin, nagsasalita siya. Nakatingin kami lahat na press corps. Parang may mali sir. Parang may kulang Tapos nung nagsalita na siya, nabumuka talaga yung bibig niya, sabi namin, oh my God, wala siyang ngipin! So sabi namin, ano nangyari sa ngipin niya? So, usyusera. So tanay namin, ano nangyari sa ngipin? Yun, turned out na parang yung cup yata niya nahulog or something. So, but that was something na...
Walang panahon gumawa ng banat story.
Wala. But, alam mo, ito nga nakakatawa Sabi nila, kasi ngayon, feeling ko sinasabi lang nila na merong mga beats daw na merong grease. You know what I'm talking about. So, tinanong ako ng iba, sabi ganun, huy kayo, finifix ba kayo ni MBR noon? Kasi ang feeling nila, napaka-friendly ng media sa kanya. Sabi namin, fix? Alam niyo ba kung anong fix ang natatanggap namin sa Malacanang? Every birthday namin, merong chocolate cake kami from Jade Vine. Tapos, pag Pasko, Johnny Walker, parang black label, tsaka isang ganyan na queso de bola. Every year without fail, Marca Piña yata or Marca Pato, parang Marca Pato or something. Yun ang fix niya sa amin. Di nga, wala kayo natatanggap na grease money. Never! Magagalit siguro yun kapag nalaman na ganun. We naturally write the stories na no coercion, nobody had to push us to write nicely about what the president is doing because the president was doing all the nice things for the country.
He was doing well.
You just have to write about it. So sabi ko nga ganon, hindi uso ang bayola sa Malacanang. I mean, walang ganon. I mean, ang saya-saya na namin na yung chocolate cake namin na every year without fail. Basta birthday namin, meron kaming chocolate cake na yun from Jade Vine. And proudly, inuuwi namin, tapos papakita namin sa nanay yung mga magulang namin na, galing sa presidente yan. Kukunan ko ng picture. Tapos yun nga yun, yung staple nga na yan, keso, ganyan. Walang palya, every year, ganun yung binibigay niya. But every year, we appreciate everything. Everything that he gave us.
Puntahan ko yung out-of-town meetings. How did you get your, for print, it was particularly difficult, Kasi...
Wala pang technology.
Wala pa How did you get your stories
internet,
out?
Walang ganyan. Oh, we would do phone-ins. Naranasan ko na yung ang layo ng probinsya na pinuntahan, deadline time is 3 o'clock, so tatawag na ako sa bulletin, may storya ako dito, ganyan, 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 bibigyan ko na ng summary. So mga give it 30 minutes and then wala pa rin, oh my God, paano papadala? Punong-puno, parang iisa lang ang fax, tapos malabo pa. Either, if phone in ko yung storya ko, during that time, didikta ko. Merong catcher sa desk noon. Yun yung halos mabali ang leg na nakaganon yung telepono. Kasi yung telepono pa noon, yung mabigat. Or, kasi noon, wala pa rin mga laptop. Hindi pa usay mga laptop noon. Puro typewriters lang. Or kung meron man desktop, yun yung kuba, yung likod, di ba? So, gagawin ko yung storya ko. Pag nakita ko na walang laptop, walang desktop, wala ganyan, handwritten. Gagawin ko, sulat ka kamay, tapos siya ako i-fax. Kasi noon, unahan kailangan mauna mong mapadala. Kasi magsasara yung dyaryo.
Exactly.
Sayang naman yung pinaghirapan ko kung hindi ko mapapadala kagad yung storya ko, di ba? So, susulat kamay ko, push comes to shove, I would either dictate it, or I would handwrite it, and send it to the desk. Ganun.
Adapt to the challenge.
Ganun.
Ganun yan.
Hanggang ngayon, actually, ginagawa ko yun kasi hindi man ako techie.
Covering the presidency is dictated by the kind of personality and character of the sitting president.
Exactly. Oo. So, ganun nga. So, if the president is lethargic, so the media becomes lethargic. If the president is workaholic, so the media becomes workaholic. Ganun. Parang ganun. Yeah.
Take us to the out of country.
Ganun
ba rin? O di ba junkets ito?
I don't think so. We were working hard. Pero I have to tell you, nakaikot kami yata yung members ng press corps ng mundo dahil kay FBR because he was the #1 salesman of the Philippines during that time. He would go to, hindi lang I mean, he was working. All of them were working visits. So, yung passports namin, kabi-kabila ang visas, ang tatak. Talagang, that was really amazing. Kasi even some people could not even fathom na, how could you have like 3 passports in 2 years? Kasi nauubos yung page ng passport mo Dahil nga kulang ng page ng visa, kulang ng page ng tatataka na ganyan. So, sabi namin, kasi nagtatrabaho, punta kami ng punta ganyan. So, my adventures all over the world, I owe them all to PFVR. I have gone to so many places that I never imagined I would even be able to go to. Pero nakapunta ako. Yun nga lang, puro work. Kasi nga, I mean, from the airport to the hotel, tapos from the hotel to the venue of engagements, ganun naman. So, yung rare times na nakakaikot ka was yung natuto na yung members ng press corps na magtulungan sa coverage. Diyan yung nangyayari na meron na nag-a-assign na kami na, morning, ikaw muna mag-cover tapos share mo na lang sa amin. Minsan ginagawa namin pooling, parang ganon. So, ganon. Somehow, nakakakita ka ng grocery, nakakapunta ka ng grocery, nakakapunta ka ng convenience store, yung ganyan. May mauwi ka man lang kahit toothpaste galing sa Spain or whatever, ganyan.
But you guys, in particular, nandun kayo sa presidential plane. Diba?
Yeah. Yun ang maganda lalo sa kanya. Kaya I told you, he treated us as family. Laging dun sa chartered flight ni PFVR, laging nandun kami, magkakasama kami dun sa bandang tail end ng eroplano kasi mas tahimik doon. Parang ganun. Kasi kasama namin doon yung mga protocol officers, yung mga PSG, ganyan. Tapos lagi yan, si FVR, naglalakad yan. Pag walang magawa yan, especially pag long haul yung mga flights, makikita mo na lang natutulog ka, nasa harap mo na siya. Ganyan. Sinisilip niya kung anong ginagawa mo, papakuhanan ka ng litrato doon sa in-house niya, that time. Sino nga yung yung balbasarado? Pangalan ng...
Jay.
Si Jay, direkto. Yan. So, kukunin niya kami ng mga pictures. Si Val. Si Val yung galing pa kay PCCA yun.
Yes.
Tapos si Jay. Yun.
Oh my gosh. One of the engagements that FBR institutionalized sa mga out of country state and working visits was the PhilCom, if you remember.
Yeah.
Why was it important for him?
Very important. It was very important because that was the only opportunity for him to touch base with the Filipinos working in the countries that he was visiting. So, yun yung ano niya eh, yun yung ano niya eh, yung as tatay nga, 'di ba? As I told you, tatay siya eh. Gusto niyang kumustahin eh. Gusto niya malaman, kumusta kayo? Ayos ba yung ano niyo rito? May mga problema ba? Yun eh, yun yung parang consultation hour niya with the Filipino communities. That was a very, very important part of the visit. I think yun yung highlight actually ng visit niya. More than meeting face-to-face or having a one-on-one with the leader of that country. I think PFVR at that time was looking forward more dun sa interaction niya with the members of the Filipino community.
What about nabanggit mo na eh, number 1 salesman eh. So, kasama sa putahe sa bawat biyahe yung yung business meetings, kaliwat kanan eh. Actually, starts early in the morning, even all the way up to
hanggang gabi.
Bakit? That one also. Tell me why.
Napaka-robust kasi ng economic, yung ano natin nun eh, yung, I saw for myself the number of businessmen who wanted to go with the president on his trips. They pay their way. Itong mga negosyante na to. Mga leaders of the industry, mga Taipans, So yeah, Team Philippines. Sila talaga yung nag-volunteer ng sarili nila na we want to be part of this business delegation of the president's trip to wherever. So talagang merong clustering yan eh. So kung merong primary party, ang secondary party niya mostly ito na yung business delegation. So itong mga to, napaka-robust ng exchange nung mga business people natin with their counterparts in the countries that we were visiting at that time. Kasi nga, as I told you, tiger economy ang Pilipinas eh. So, parang everybody wanted to do business in the Philippines. So, itong mga captains of the industry, sila yung katulong ng presidente natin na binibenta yung what we can offer to the world. So, yun, napakagandang aspeto yun ng state or working visits si Presidente.
At pinatrabaho niya talaga yung mga businessmen na ito, no?
Oh, nabuo. Ang dami talagang nagkaroon na nagtrabaho, ang daming results, positive results, ang daming employments, ang daming businesses na na-generate.
He had an emergency, if you remember.
Yeah, the carotid block.
Tell me about that.
Diyos ko.
Ano yung mood nung press corps?
We were all scared. Alam mo ba na naka-stake out kami dun sa Makati Med. Bantay kami. Kasi sabi namin, we were getting medical bulletins every now and then. So naghihintay kami noon. We knew he had a carotid block, but hindi namin alam how serious it was, no? Kasi hindi naman kami mga doktor. Pero the fact na yung presidente mo, na tinitingala mo na bilang ama mo, I guess it's like having your own father having a medical problem. And it was something that really scared me. Kasi hindi lang ako I believe I am speaking for them also, yung mga media. Kasi sabi namin, kung may mangyari sa kanya, anong mangyayari sa bansa natin?
And he was pretty open about
it. Pero, alam mo yun, natakot ka para sa kanya. Kasi, ayaw mo sanang may mangyaring ganun sa kanya na parang, alam mo yun yung, parang kung ano rin yung wish mo sana sa mga magulang mo kung po pwedeng habang buhay sila. Tsaka kung po pwedeng habang buhay, wag silang magkasakit. Parang ganun din yung gusto sana namin sa kanya nung time na yun. So,
it was personal.
Oo, kami talagang sabi namin, sana gumaling siya kagad. O kung pa pwede lang na sana wag na siyang magkasakit. Yung ganun. Yun. So when he came out of it, mas happy na kami. Pero alam mo yun, that was one moment na you wouldn't want to happen again kasi ayaw mong magkasakit siya talaga eh. Kung po pwede lang na, live forever, sir. Live forever. Ganun.
Give me your sense now of, kung naalala mo yung pirma and the People's Initiative. Ito yung would have allowed him to run a second for a second term. Di ba? What was your take?
Ako, kung ako lang ang masusunod, I would want to have him as president forever. Kaya lang, syempre, imposible yon. 6 years lang talaga ang tinakda ng Constitution. And even if we wanted more of him and more of his style of leadership, I also believe that we should give the others the chance to prove their worth as president. Ako, ang feeling ko, si PFVR will go down history. Parang, alam mo how Prime Minister Lee of Singapore was, na until hanggang nagkaedad na siya talaga yung parang respected na elder, na kahit sinong maging pangulo will always seek his advice because he happens to give them freely, and he always gives the good and the best advice. So parang ang feeling ko nung time na yun, kung hindi man siya po pwedeng maging presidente ulit for the second time, then yun nga, siya na yung magiging elder, yung elder na respected elder ng bansa.
What was the mood like yung last 6 months niya sa MPC? I mean, patapos na yung gano'n.
Malungkot kasi nga 6 na taon mong kasama eh. Alam mo yun?
Yeah.
6 na taon mong sinundan. 6 na taon na you breathed and lived. Parang your life was ang buhay namin noon nakatakda or sa kanya naka-focus sa kanya. Yung nga, parang ang hirap i-extricate yung sarili mo doon sa pace. Kasi, sabi namin, Diyos ko, magiging ganito rin kaya yung susunod na presidente. So, you start asking that question. Magiging ganun din kaya yung coverage natin. Kasi hindi naman namin alam yung style ng susunod na Pangulo, di ba?
Yeah.
So, nasanay na yung katawan mo for 6 years. Nagigising ka ng ganun kaaga, natutulog ka ng ganun ka-late. Lahat ng pinupuntahan mo, yung alam mo yung kung baga sa mag-asawa, merong empty nest syndrome na tinatawag, di ba? Dahil mawawala na yung ganyan. Ito, the other way around. Parang kami mga anak, biglang magkakaroon kami ng empty nest syndrome because andun pa rin kami sa Malacanang, pero yung tatay namin, patapos na yung term. Yung parang ganun. So sabi namin, parang, will we ever find the same quality of governance, of leadership, of the same brand of fatherly affection, of warmth, of caring, ganun. Yun. We were questioning, and we were, as the days progressed into his last day of as president, medyo melancholic yung mood namin kasi naalala namin kasi from day 1, tapos hanggang sa yun na nga, na siya, na siya, parang papahinga na siya, ganyan. Yun.
But he didn't really
Not really.
retire.
He was very active. Maganda nga yun kasi nagpayo siya kay ERAP noon, hanggang kay GMA, nagpapayo siya noon. Yun naman. It was good to see him around.
And you did see him on an
every
annual
year.
basis?
Yeah, every year nakikita ko siya. Every February 2. Yan yung anniversary ng bulletin.
At ganun pa rin yung level ng tuksuhan.
Grabe. As in, lagi pag dadating si FVR, talagang para siyang everybody swarms around him. Para siyang magnet eh. Alam mo yun, yung tapong, mga tao kasi, alam na kasi na pag kinausap mo siya, alam mo kasi na kakausapin ka niya ng person to person. Hindi yung, hi, hello, hindi, wala siyang ganun eh. Ano siya na, ganyan, dami siyang kukwento sa'yo, yan. Kukwento niya sa'yo kung bakit walang lens yung salamin niya. Sasabihin niya ganun, kahit every year, sinasabi niya na, tingnan mo, walang salamin. Pero still, natutuwa ka pa rin sa kwento niya na ganun.
When people, perfect strangers, realize how close you were covering FBR, what is it you tell them of your tour of duty?
I would say that was the best years of my life as a journalist, covering him. Even my family, when they ask me, ganyan na, anong kaligayahang na-derive mo dyan? Kasi nga, they hardly ever saw me. Remember, 6 na taon, walang holidays, walang ganyan. Kasi nakatutok ko sa kanya, sabi nga, anong kaligayahan mo bang na-derive dyan na talagang nakatutok ko dyan? Sabi ko, it's my job. And this is the kind of president na you won't mind losing sleep over. Parang ganun. Kasi alam mo na, first, I'll come up with a very good story. And I know it's gonna land in the front page. And second, I know that I'm writing tomorrow's history. So, yun, nandun yung yung motivation. Ganun.
What about FBR, the man, the person?
You want me to define that? He's a gentleman. He's a good leader. He's a good father to the nation and to us. And he's a good... Magaling siya kasi kaya ang galing niyang salesman. Sabi ko sa'yo, number 1 salesman. Ang galing niyang for a military man, iba siyang magbenta ng bansa eh. Yung talagang wala kang choice kundi pumunta dito sa bansa na to para mag-invest or ano. Magaling siya. I think he was a born diplomat.
Meron ka bang most memorable FBR moment?
Madami. Alam mo, ang pinaka-memorable na moment ko kay FBR, hindi pa siya presidente. I was covering the defense beat.
Okay.
And he was Deputy Chief of Staff during that time. Meron kaming pinuntahan na probinsya.
Okay.
Tapos ngayon, si General, kalimutan ko yung pangalan ng isa eh. Anyway, ando si FBR. So I was a defense reporter. Tapos doon sa probinsya na yun, talagang infested with NPAs. So sabi niya ganun, Isabel, sasakay tayo sa jeep. Sabi niya, pero patayin lahat ng ilaw. Kasi dadaan tayo dun sa area, marami dong NPA. So hindi po pwedeng malaman na dumadaan tayo dun, kundi ma-ambush tayo.
Okay.
Sabi ko, opo sir. So nandun kami sa jeep. Walang ilaw, wala lahat. Talagang damang-dama mo na dumadaan ka dun sa teritoryo na parang feeling mo, kahit saan ka tumingin, baka biglang may pumutok na lang na bala. So, dinaanan namin yun. Bago kami makarating doon sa kampo na pupuntahan namin. Pagdating namin sa kampo, dahil nakalusot kami doon sa NPA-infested area na yan, nagsayawan kami ngayon. Meron kaming actually picture ni FBR na nagsasayaw. Defense reporter ako noon.
Okay.
Yun ang memorable kasi talagang, sabi niya ganun, papaliwanag ko lang sa'yo. Sabi niya ganun, dadaan tayo dito sa area na to. Infested, maraming NPA. Sabi niya, pero dadaan tayo ng dahan-dahan. Kaya huwag kang maingay. Huwag ka rin gagalaw gaano, ganyan. Kasi baka marinig. Pati hinga mo maririnig. So sabi ko, opo. Ganyan. So, maano talaga yung military convoy. Ito sa military convoy. Yun ang pinaka-memorable ko. At hindi pa siya presidente noon.
Did you have any idea at that time that he would...
No! No!
Not at all.
Not at all. Kasi nga, military, naisip mo ganun eh. Wala pa eh. Wala pa sa hinagap natin na magkakaroon tayo ng presidente na sundalo, di ba?
You were there the full 6 years. What do you want people to remember of the FBR presidency?
The tiger. The Philippines being the tiger. Because that time, tayo ang tiger economy ng Asia eh. And that was all because of him and his economic team. And as a tiger economy, ang status natin noon, iba. I mean, kahit saan ka magpunta, during that time, if you say you're from the Philippines, they look up to you and say, oh, Philippines. Hindi yung Philippines. Hindi yung gano'n. Talagang taas ng tingin sa Pilipinas ang time na yun eh.
Tapos Ramos.
Yan, tapos si Ramos pa, no, walang bahid ng walang bahid ng corruption. As I told you, walang payola, walang fix dun sa Malacanang ng time na yun. So, yun. Yun ang kasi nakatatak. Tsaka how they handled the power crisis during that time. Because when they came in, may power crisis noong 1991 eh.
Yeah, yeah.
Sobra ang power crisis noon. And 1992, he became president. Namana niya lahat yan. So, dumating yung point na they had to get power barges. Parang ganyan. The way they handled that crisis is also worth mentioning.
And then, he lit up the economy.
Yung
Literally.
pa, economy. Tapos yung power crisis, sinolve nila. Yung economy, pinaano nila talaga. Plus, he made it a point to he actually put the Philippines back on the map. Parang ganun.
It's 6 years. Was every day worth it?
Yes, yes. And I would do it all over again.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.